Do you know that the gods are just surviving humans from the previous era? Do you know that the stars and moon in the solar system are not eternal? The humans of the first age established the heavens and all realms. The human burial, life and death of the second age. The human beings of the third age flew into the sky and fled to the earth. The humans of the fourth age sang praises. The human order of the fifth era, heaven and earth. The humans of the sixth age are named after miracles. In the dark era of civilization, starting from the end of the fifth era, Jiang raised his throne, cleared the world with his sword, sweeping everything, until the end of the sixth era, gazing up at the dawn of the starry sea. Sun incarnation. Step on the Pluto, star. Stay on the edge of the solar system. Enemies come from deep space in the universe. In the sight of human civilization, he slowly walked from the upstream of the river of time, towards the hopeless and shattered future. Chapter 1. End of the Fifth Age. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The setting sun is like blood, and the sky is shrouded in smoke. The collapsed ruins of the city, with bones piled up like mountains and blood flowing into rivers. The afterglow of the setting sun falls, and the broken breath sweeps across the sky and earth. Jiang stood in the midst of the mountains of corpses and blood, standing tall and majestic, shining brightly in the blue wind. He held a dripping platinum long sword and looked at the sunset on the horizon, sighing slightly. Monsters, there is an endless slaughter, endless slaughter. Yes, this endless monster has dragged down our civilization and turned the beautiful world into a bloody hell. Beside him, a stunning golden-haired girl put away her blue and gold spear and sighed. Let's go, Ania, let's go back. After speaking, the two of them rose into the air and flew towards the icy plateau in the west. On the ice and snow plateau, there is a huge advanced base with an airport, equipment warehouse, and various factories. Jiang and Ania flew over plains and landed on the square. On the square, there are busy people with different hair colors, but they are all survivors of the apocalypse. Only here can Jiang feel a hint of human breath, and in this starry sky, he won't feel lonely and lonely. Oh, King Jiang and Ania have returned. Thank you, both of you. Haha, Brother Jiang, did you bring us a gift? In the crowd, men, women, and children warmly greeted him, and even a cute little girl jumped onto him and was embraced by him. Circle, what is this? Jiang took out a small kaleidoscope from his arms and handed it to her, making her dance happily. Next to her, Ania exclaimed in surprise. Senior, when did you get this thing? Haha, secret. Just don't tell me. At this moment, the crowd automatically separated and a serious girl with a graceful figure, beautiful appearance, and military uniform emerged from it. Her eyes were frosty and her expression was cold. Only at the moment of seeing Jiang did his eyes soften slightly and he asked softly. Jiang, Ania, welcome back safely. How is the outside world now? Have you found any survivors? Upon hearing these words, Jiang smiled bitterly. There are probably no more survivors in the outside world. This time, we searched the entire city of Yanghai and only encountered endless monsters. The girl in military uniform's eyes dimmed slightly, and she whispered. I could have anticipated it a long time ago, wouldn't I? After all, the end of the world has been 50 years. Except for a few bases in our various regions, there is indeed no trace of humanity on the entire Earth. The total number of humans is less than 100,000, how can we continue? Alongside Jiang, Ania also said sorrowfully. As long as we clean up the monsters, we have a way to sow the seeds of humanity again on this land. Speaking of continuing civilization, the eyes of the girl in military uniform lit up with confidence. So, work hard. The three of them looked out at the endless mountains and rivers beyond the snowy plain, and for a moment, the confusion in their eyes disappeared, looking forward to it. Returning to the room, Jiang lay down directly on the bed, feeling exhausted like a tidal wave. Close your eyes, and a peaceful sky comes to mind. Under the sky, the city is bustling with lights and wine, and amidst the bustling city, people come and go, creating a peaceful and tranquil atmosphere. When can we see this scenery again? At the end of the 21st century, the once quiet world was shattered. Firstly, the Voyager spacecraft launched by humans into the starry sky has lost its message. Immediately after, a massive alien spaceship unabashedly remained at the edge of the solar system. Human civilization has tried countless ways to connect, but they are like sinking into the sea with no news. So, human leaders realized something was wrong. They began to establish shelters one after another, actively preparing for war, and almost turning all resources from centuries into combat readiness resources. At this moment, human civilization has also let go of the barriers between each other and united together. The shelter base in the Great Snow Plain where Jiang was located was built at that time. Furthermore, human civilization did not detect any intrusions from the heavily monitored space. On the contrary, endless monsters emerged from the sea. Humanity has never known how these monsters were thrown into the sea, but the end of humanity has arrived. In the confrontation with the monsters, countless people come one after another to protect their homeland behind them. But human civilization still suffered a complete defeat, retreating from the coast to the plains, from the plains to the inland, and then from the inland to the plateau. In the end, the human civilization with billions of people was completely destroyed, leaving less than 100,000 people struggling to survive on ice and snow plateaus and high mountain peaks. But during this period, it seemed to ignite the final glow of civilization, and humanity seemed to have completed thousands of years of evolution. Among the human race, a portion of people have evolved. They are like proud sons of heaven, possessing powerful abilities upon awakening and enhancing over time. Shuttle through space, release flames, stir up tides, transport mountains, unleash thunder, control the sky, and so on. Just like the reappearance of gods in ancient mythology. Jiang awakened during this period. During this period, 7 supreme awakeners stood out from countless awakeners. Zeus, the king of thunder. Odin, the king of the sky. The king of ice and snow, Isa. The king of the sun. The king of light, Brahma. The god of might and magic. And the flame king Jiang. They are known as the 7 kings of the last world. After decades of growth, each of the 7 kings of the apocalypse possesses the powerful ability to destroy mountains and rivers, and each of them has the powerful strength to compete alone with the alpha-level giant monsters. It seems that the final struggle of human civilization appears in them. After their emergence, human civilization was finally able to hold a place in the corners of the world. But they appeared too late. The bones of billions of people are like mountains and seas, and monsters are always endless. They are huge in size and have fierce abilities. They destroy cities, brutally kill humans, but do not harm other animals, only showing a desire to kill humans. They were born specifically to destroy human civilization. But the remaining humans did not despair, they were always waiting. As the wise old man among the remaining humans said, "Monsters feed on humans, and when billions of human bones are consumed, they have no food to live on and will naturally disappear. At that time, the remaining humans can sow the seeds of wisdom again on the lost land." Just as Jiang was about to fall asleep, his door was knocked on. "Senior, have you slept yet?" Chapter 2. Super Beast Nedhogg. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The night is like water. Gazing up at the starry sky, the sky is filled with dazzling stars. Jiang and Ania sat on the top of the eggshell garden in the shelter, looking up at the starry sky. The cool evening breeze blew up the pure white skirt of the girl, and her long golden brown hair fluttered in the wind. Jiang sat beside her, and even could smell the pleasant fragrance of the girl's body. "Senior, what are you going to do after the end of the apocalypse? The bright and beautiful girl sat with her knees crossed, slightly turning her head to look at the handsome man beside her. Decades of time have not changed his appearance in any way, as if frozen in the moment of awakening. I really like seniors. Jiang looked up at the starry sky, with a slight smile rising from the corner of his mouth. The end of the world is over, and I want to live in seclusion in the countryside, silently watching the growth of the new human civilization. Senior, you're really calm. And you, Ania? If my senior wants to retire to the countryside, I am willing to clean the house, do laundry, and cook for him. Is that okay? The girl's voice carried a hint of sweetness and also a hint of trembling nervousness. Ah! Jiang's heart seemed to have been hit, and he turned his head to look at the anticipation and love in the girl's sky-blue eyes. He remembered the weak and helpless girl he had saved before. When she woke up and fought alongside him, she was resolute and fearless. Ania, you've always been standing behind me. He thought to himself. So, Jiang looked solemnly at the stunning young girl in front of him and nodded seriously. Ania, if you're willing, let's be with me when the end of the world comes to an end. A few years later. As the wise elder said, the endless monsters killed all the humans in front of them, devoured their bones, and could no longer find food. They began to panic and start devouring the corpses of their own kind. Shelter in snowy plains. In Jiang's room. On the soft big bed, Jiang woke up from sleep and smiled helplessly as he looked at Ania, whose body was as white as jade, leaning against his embrace. Since that night, the two have established their relationship and naturally slept together. But today, we can't be as greedy and gentle as usual. He gently pulled his hand away from Anya's snow-white neck, walked off the bed, put on his clothes, and prepared to go to the conference room for the meeting. Today, the 7 remaining shelters of human civilization will hold a conference to determine human civilization. As one of the 7 kings, he must attend. Jiang was dressed neatly, and just as he was about to leave the room, he heard the sweet and light voice of Ania coming from behind. Senior, are there any meetings again? Jiang turned around and saw Ania propped up on the bed, rubbing her blue eyes. The blanket on her body slipped onto the bed, revealing her proud figure in the upper half. It was snow-white and delicate, making Jiang's abdomen instantly hot. He suppressed his impulse and quickly turned his head. Ania, get dressed up quickly and get up again. There is a big meeting of 7 shelters today, and it may decide what will happen after the end of the day. I need to go there. Cluck, Senior has looked at my body so many times, and I'm still so shy. You go ahead, I'll sleep a little longer. Hee woman. The managers of the shelter have arrived in the huge and spacious conference room. Jiang, you're here. Sit down quickly, the meeting is about to start. Jiang smiled slightly and nodded, sitting next to the girl in military uniform, asking in a low voice. Xiaohua, what is the main discussion of this meeting? The girl in military uniform rolled her eyes and sneered. Why, Jiang, who is trapped in the gentle and tender waters of a beautiful girl, can't even take a look at the email sent yesterday. Cough, unable to take precautions, Jiang instinctively coughed twice to conceal his embarrassment. On the side, a man wearing a white coat also secretly chuckled. King Fengxi, you're so funny, but you're not much better. You're not as good as Jiang. At least she knows how to accompany her girlfriend. And you spend all day in your laboratory, are you cute like me? Seeing the handsome man next to her chuckling, Li Xiaohua became even more infuriated. King Fengxi suddenly froze and broke out in cold sweat. He was a researcher, but he couldn't beat Li Xiaohua. That's it. I won't get beaten when I get home tonight, right? It's too difficult for me. Fortunately, Li Xiaohua did not continue to scold him, but instead sent a message to Jiang. Jiang looked carefully, but his eyebrows furrowed tightly. At that moment, the meeting began. On the 6 large screens opposite them, scenes of 6 other shelters were also projected. An elderly man with white hair appeared on the screen. He is Chen Pingyan, the current chief of 7 shelters and the leader of the last 100,000 people of human civilization. There is good news to tell everyone that according to our exploration, the alien spacecraft on the edge of the solar system has left. Perhaps they believe that our remaining 100,000 humans are not enough to continue human civilization. In recent years, as you can see, the monsters have been unable to find humans and have no source of food. Originally, some of them had already returned to the ocean. If this momentum continues, sooner or later all the monsters will return to the ocean and no longer appear. The old man paused. However, something unexpected happened. Perhaps this is the last move of extraterrestrial civilization to completely eliminate us. On the Antarctic continent, a smart monster was born, with energy levels far exceeding Alpha. We named it the super beast Nedhogg. According to our investigation, this super beast has extremely high intelligence. It is controlling the monster's desire to return to the sea, and it wants them to form their own food chain. And, let them start consuming animals and plants outside of humans. This statement caused an uproar in the entire audience. You should know that the hope of the remaining humans for the end of the world to leave is that these monsters will disappear on their own, and if they were to be killed one by one, it would not be possible to kill them all for 10,000 years. Moreover, those alpha-level monsters have the power of the 7 kings. Jiang remained silent, his eyes fixed on the old man on the screen. He knew that the wise man who had always guided human civilization must have a way. He is a wise man, a prophet. Sure enough, allowing people to make noise for a while, the old man gently patted the table and said calmly. Of course there is a way, everyone don't worry. This time, as long as we kill this super beast, we can truly end the end of the world. How to kill it? Zeus of the Olympus Refuge asked. Gather the fighting power of all human civilizations and use the ultimate weapon Gungnir to go to the Antarctic continent and kill it in one fell swoop. This is the final battle, and I see in my future destiny that although we suffer heavy casualties, it will eventually die. After speaking, Chen Pingyan stood up and caressed his chest with his hand. Gentlemen, humanity will not perish, and the radiance will endure forever. Everyone stood up and shouted loudly. Humanity never dies, the radiance endures forever. Chapter 3. Antarctica. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next day. On the large square of the Great Snow Plain Shelter. A magnificent spaceship perched on the square. In the shelter of the Great Snow Plain, apart from the necessary defensive forces, almost all the combatants stood up. The array of 2,000 people appeared exceptionally large, with everyone's faces serious and their eyes fixed. They came here to seek survival for future generations and seize hope for the survival of civilization. Snowflakes kept falling, jumping in front of everyone like elves. But the warmth on people rises up like sunshine. Jiang stood at the forefront, looking helplessly at the beautiful girl next to him in a white combat uniform. The tight combat uniform outlines the beautiful curves of the girl, and her gaze is equally firm as iron. He remembered the firm words of the girl when he advised Ania not to go last night. If it is to contribute to the survival of human civilization, as a member of humanity, I, Ania, cannot shirk my duty. Besides, I am a light awakener, senior, and I can help you. Alright, Ania, come back safely. We must all return safely, senior. Just as Jiang's thoughts were drifting like snowflakes, he soon saw Li Xiaohua pushing a white-haired old woman in a wheelchair towards them. This is Ms. Yuanjing, the leader of the Great Snow Plain Shelter and respected elder. Due to intense battles with monsters in her early years, she has lost her combat power and her legs are also disabled, but she still possesses the most spirited fighting spirit. Ms. Yuanjing approached 2,000 people and quietly scanned towards each one, as if she wanted to remember them all. You are all warriors of the shelter, and some of your children have also grown up under my supervision. Human civilization used to prosper immensely, but now it has declined so much. Every time I see no one smoking for thousands of miles under the snowy plain, with corpses everywhere within my sight, my heart aches like a ring. But even so, we won't give up. Because we are humans, we will not succumb to any existence. We must grow tenaciously and rebuild the future. At this point, Yuan Jing's face was already filled with tears. She knew that the powerful beast named Nedhogg might prevent most of the warriors in front of her from returning. But what about this? I wish I could go to this battlefield with you, but I am powerless. Therefore, I will guard this home for you. Warriors, this is the darkest era. Humans don't even know if there is a future, but there are always people who have to bear the weight and move forward. Darkness has already enveloped the earth, and you are the only light. Standing among the crowd, Jiang, dressed in military uniform, stood up and solemnly saluted leader Yuan Jing. Please rest assured, the leader, that the super beast will not be destroyed and will never survive. As the strongest person, he is now also the leader of this group of soldiers, and the 2,000 soldiers behind him salute one after another. Humanity never dies, the radiance endures forever. Humanity never dies, the radiance endures forever. The passionate cries of 2,000 people stirred up the world, and time seemed to have come to a halt at this moment. Above the sky, the clouds dispersed, and the sun shone down. At this time, 7 large spacecraft are hovering in the sky over the Antarctic continent. In the sky, there are 7 figures standing in the air. Their breath is either bright, hot, domineering, or cold. Although their breath is different, without exception, their aura is as brilliant as a deity. Like a great sun crushing the sky and earth, the bright moon illuminating the vast sea, towering and majestic. It is the 7 extraordinary kings of humanity. On the snowy spaceship, Ania stood on the deck, her long golden brown hair fluttering with the wind. Her sky-blue eyes blinked as she looked at the shining ginger sheep in the sky like a sun. Is this the predecessor of the Flame King, so dazzling? On the sky, the 7 strongest humans are laughing loudly. However, at this moment, Jiang's face had twitched to the extreme, and he wished to beat up the beautiful white-haired woman across from him. Ah la la, recently I heard that as one of the 7 kings, the 70-year-old man Jiang actually found a little girl in her 20s. It's really amazing. Isa. Isha, the king of ice and snow, has some connection with Jiang. The two have been awakened since the beginning, one is fire and the other is ice. Later, humans retreated to the shelter, and the two were appointed as members of an S-level awakened squad by the Human Union government. Jiang is the captain, and Isha is the deputy captain, but this woman is very proud and has always felt that she should be the leader. Therefore, although the two are comrades in arms, they are also competitors. Haha, you two, don't argue at this moment. This is Odin, a tall middle-aged man with blonde hair. Speaking of which, the 7 kings are indeed acquainted and have even fought together. However, later on, human civilization retreated to the last 7 sanctuaries, which separated the 7 kings and each person guarded one place. In terms of strength, the 7 kings are all similar, but Odin is their senior officer, and this operation is also under Odin's command. After all, humans cannot afford a single failure. Seeing everyone looking at him, Odin nodded and said in a deep voice. Ladies and gentlemen, please take a look. Odin pointed to a sleeping serpentine beast beneath the clouds. Nedhogg. It is thousands of kilometers long, covered in hard and pitch-black scales all over its body. It has 3 huge heads, with a sharp and hard long horn growing on the middle head. The radio waves that transmit globally and control monsters are emitted from this corner. Surrounded by the super beast are 3 alpha-level beasts, guarding the surroundings like courtiers guarding kings. At their center, there are countless monsters surrounding them. This time, we have almost brought the last battle force of all human civilization, killing super beasts. Even if we are all defeated, we will not hesitate. Next, I will issue the mission under the command of the commander of the final battle of human civilization. 3 alpha-level beasts will be dealt with by Isha, Brahma, and Ra respectively. As for Nedhogg, it's up to me, Zeus, Mar, and Ginger Sheep to hold him. I've arranged for the strongest spatial ability to hold Gungnir, seek the opportunity, and kill the super beast. The remaining monsters will be blocked by our warriors. Remember, the faster we eliminate Nedhogg, the fewer casualties our warriors will suffer. Yes. Everyone agrees. So, gentlemen, humanity shall not perish, and the radiance shall endure forever. Humanity never dies, the radiance endures forever. Kill. Chapter 4. Ania, Second Amendment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. With a command, the spaceship hidden in the clouds in the sky revealed its traces. More than 10,000 human soldiers leaped down from the air, their morale like a rainbow, and they marched forward. Because they know that this time, if you don't live, you'll die. For the sake of your loved ones and friends behind you, why not die? Until the end of the world, no awakened warrior has been weak. The weak either died in the apocalypse or were just born children. Ania was also among the soldiers, following orders from the war commander to go to the designated location to resist the monsters. She gazed at the figure of Jiang, who shot straight into the sky like a brilliant flame, and thought silently to herself. Senior, please don't die. The super beast Nedhogg is a presence far beyond the alpha-level giant. In the center of the battlefield, Zeus unleashed a thunderous roar, covering the entire sky with thunderclouds. The lightning continuously struck Nedhogg, igniting his anger. Odin held a golden spear, turning into a golden light, and swiftly stabbed around the beast's body, which was thousands of kilometers long. And Mar went around to the tail of the super beast, relying on his immense strength to constantly pull and tug at its tail. As for Jiang, his body was shrouded in a layer of flame armor, and he held a flame-long sword, confronting it from the front of the super beast. His strong combat awareness and unparalleled attacking power make him a formidable opponent in battle. The kilometer-long Nedhogg stirred up towering ice and snow, shaking the earth and mountains. It controlled an endless gust of wind to attack and kill all human warriors. Countless monsters controlled by it rushed towards it relentlessly, while human warriors fought desperately to block it, resulting in heavy casualties. Facing the strong wind, Jiang took the time to scatter a sea of fire, blowing it out along the wind and burning down a large group of monsters that had broken through. Nedhogg is invincible to water and fire, and has a super strong vitality. Even if they take turns bombing and cause considerable damage to it, it is restored by its powerful self-healing ability. What amazing vitality, Odin! When will we activate Gungnir? In the sky, Zeus, struggling to dodge the flames of a snake's head, spoke with a disheveled face. Odin's face looked ugly. Nedhogg has extremely strong intelligence. It seems to know something that can pose a threat of death to it, and has been taking turns protecting its vital points with its 3 heads. Those with spatial abilities cannot break through at all. At the snake's tail, Mal Yen, who had just escaped a tail attack from a collapsed mountain and river. What should we do? Think of a way. Let's give it a try. Okay. Jiang nodded and found another opportunity to jump to the corner of the snake's head. His essence and spirit were extremely heavy. The flame-long sword instantly surged 100 meters and struck the snake's head, causing a long wound to appear. Suddenly, blood flowed freely, and the super beast began to howl in pain. It's too hard, Odin, come on. Okay. A golden light struck, and Odin quickly stabbed the 6 pairs of snake eyes with his gun. The super beast once again suffered from pain, with 3 heads raised high. Take advantage of this opportunity, come on. A spatial wave flashed by, and an awakened person with a gun suddenly appeared at the counter scale of the super beast, about to fire Gungnir. I saw the neck of the super beast suddenly crack open, and a petite monster suddenly appeared, with one claw sticking towards the awakened space. With a loud bang, the awakened one holding Gungnir was knocked out and fainted on the ground, unaware of life or death. On the battlefield, everyone remained calm, and a sense of despair began to envelop them. Is human civilization about to truly perish? Is this land going to be stolen by the monsters? It's done. The morale of the human side has fallen at a speed visible to the naked eye. At this moment, in mid-air, a dazzling female warrior suddenly raised the Gungnir she had picked up from somewhere. Her body began to shine with a brilliant white light, her appearance was unparalleled, her figure was like a fairy, like the goddess of light descending into the world. That's Ania, she's covered in blood and her little face is covered in bloodstains. Gungnir is still here, we are still here. How could humans lose? I will never give up until the last moment, even if we fight to death. Yeah, blood never dries, death never stops fighting. Aren't we even inferior to a girl? That's Ania, known as the Angel Awakener. Human indomitable, continue to fight. The war song resounds again. In the void, Jiang wiped the blood from the corners of his mouth and looked at Ania, who was inspiring everyone's morale on the battlefield with love in his eyes, and chuckled softly. It's truly Ania. Suddenly, his face changed drastically and he said, not good. Ignoring the huge wind blades spewed out by the snake's head in front of him, he shouted loudly with round eyes. Anna, quickly avoid it. However, Ania was extremely tired at this moment and had no time to dodge. Quickly, a green light wave collided violently in the direction of Ania, instantly penetrating her chest. That is the light wave emitted from the mouth of an alpha-level giant turtle-like beast, which is the one Isha is fighting against. In the sight of countless people, Aniatan, who was originally shining like a goddess of light, fell straight down like a winged angel. As he fell into the sky, Ania used all his remaining strength to throw Gungnir towards Ginger Sheep. Ah, you bastard! Damn monster! The human warriors who had already been boosted by morale turned red in their eyes, and a spirit of solidarity emerged. In mid-air, Jiang quickly caught Gungnir and shouted in sorrow. Ania! The immense pain turned into a raging flame, and his strength seemed to shatter a thin film amidst endless grief. The golden flame that ignited once again seemed to ignite the eternal ice. He shouted loudly, Odin. The once tacit understanding allowed Odin to understand his actions and silently nodded. Suddenly, his eyes lit up like two suns, rising into the air, and his whole body's essence and spirit merged into one, carrying Gungnir. Under the endless golden flames, he was like a high sun, crashing into Nedhogg's mouth. Since the monster can survive in its neck, it can also go in and kill Nedhogg. On the ice-covered land not far away, Ania, who fell to the ground, kept bleeding from her mouth. She struggled to look up at her lover's determined figure, revealing a poignant smile. Her mouth hesitated, as if trying to express something, but ultimately did not speak. The remaining people were deeply shocked, and the determination of the Fire King ignited their fighting spirit. Kill me. Deadly battle. Soon, there was a sudden bang inside Nedhogg's body, and his entire body exploded. Some of the flying flesh and blood sank into the ice, while others scattered deep into the sea. On the ice sheet. Did we win? Victory. Humanity has won. We survived. But as for Jiang, there is no trace of him in the entire Antarctic ice sheet. All the wounded have been found, but Jiang is still not here. Jiang. Are you really dead? Jiang, where are you? We have found Ania, and ISA has frozen her. In the future, perhaps we can resurrect her, but where are you? Chapter 5, Chapter 6, First Generation New Humans. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A few days later. On the Antarctic ice sheet, a stunning woman in a white dress looked sadly at the land and whispered to herself. Jiang, where have you been hiding, you bastard? I have to leave soon. However, I have also taken Ania with me. If you're not dead, you must come to me in the future. With the evacuation of the last group of human soldiers, there are no more people on the Antarctic ice sheet. And with Nedhogg's death, the monsters slowly returned to the depths of the sea and no longer appeared on the ground. They may be sleeping in the sea, waiting for the opening of the next civilization. Some monsters, on the other hand, changed their way of survival and stayed on the land because they were the first to receive instructions from Nedhogg. They may be interpreting new legends in the future. The remaining human civilization suffered heavy casualties after this battle. When human civilization warriors behead Nedhogg, monsters around the world frantically search for human refuge, and most of them return to the ocean with nothing. But a small portion accidentally found several shelters, and the majority of the shelters went to battle, leaving only enough strength to protect themselves. After the human civilization marched back and eliminated these monsters, the population of human civilization was once again severely damaged. The number of humans has sharply decreased to 50,000 people. You should know that this is still the total number of the 7 major shelters of humanity. Under the fierce despair, the dawn of victory finally arrived. With the heroic sacrifice of the Flame King Jiang, Nedhogg surrendered, and the monsters on the earth finally retreated to the ocean. Under the leadership of Chen Pingyan, the 7 major shelters of human civilization united to eliminate most of the remaining monsters on the earth. During this period, there was also good news that Li Xiaohua successfully broke through the royal level and became the 8th extraordinary king to replace Jiang, the king of the earth. Li Xiaohua's breakthrough relieved Isha, the northern shelter, from balancing the safety issues of the 2 shelters, which greatly relieved her. She didn't have to run back and forth, which was much easier for her. A few years ago, due to her guilt towards Jiang, she took the initiative to take over the safety guarantee of the Great Snow Plain Refuge. These years have been exhausting. After eliminating the monsters on the earth, human leader Chen Pingyan began to consider the issue of the proliferation of human civilization. Due to the fact that the population of human civilization is less than 50,000, and the majority are still awakened and children. The awakened are themselves superhumans with a long lifespan, and if they exceed the king level, their lifespan is almost endless. Therefore, reproduction is much more difficult than normal humans. Moreover, many of them have lost their husbands or wives in battles, and it is unlikely for them to rebuild their families and reproduce their offspring. So it is impossible to restore the population at the peak of human civilization by relying on these 50,000 people for reproduction. Chen Pingyan looked at the peaceful and vast land, almost turning white with worry. In the end, he made a difficult decision to activate the human gene bank and artificially breed new humans. This issue was actually raised a long time ago, but there is a fatal problem. Due to the arrival of the apocalypse, there seems to be a different element added to heaven and earth, which is precisely the reason for the awakening of humans. However, these elements seem to have had some impact on the human seed bank. Some genes have been altered, resulting in a significant difference between the humans bred from it and those of the past. It is almost impossible to say it is a human race, although there is no reproductive isolation between the two. The probability of these new humans producing awakened beings is very low. According to scientists' calculations, it would be good if one could appear among approximately 100,000 people. Moreover, their intelligence seems to be inferior to that of the old humans. To grow into such a level of intelligence as the new humans, they still need to reproduce and develop for many generations. But even so, that is still the inheritance of humanity. Chen Pingyan has finally made the decision to launch new humans around the world. Devote most of the resources, deploy 100,000 people in various regions, and have their respective shelters responsible for supervision and education. With the birth, reproduction, survival, and development of the new human race, a new era of humanity has begun. This is what came later, the Sixth Age. 1,000 years later, the new humans multiplied to millions, and at this time, a pair of golden eyes slowly opened in the ice layer of the Antarctic continent. Who am I? I am Jiang, the King of Fire. Chapter 6. I resurrected from the ice and walked towards this vast world. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 1,000 years ago, Jiang transformed into a golden flame and threw it into Nedhogg's mouth. His speed is as fast as lightning, passing through the snake's neck all the way to his heart. Before the immune response in Nedhogg's body came through, stabbed Gungnir into its heart. As if igniting a volcanic eruption, shaking the stars and exploding, Gungnir instantly released a devastating energy that shattered Nedhogg's heart and body. Nedhogg's kilometer-long corpse and massive blood scattered into the vast sky and endless ocean. The essence of the flesh close to the heart was stabbed under the ice under the cover of the sky of blood rain by Gungnir and Jiang. Jiang was also severely injured, and he fell asleep under the ice. Nurtured by the flesh and blood of Nedhogg, he began to heal on his own. Until 1,000 years later, he opened his golden eyes and gradually woke up. In 1,000 years, his body had already recovered, and it seemed that the severe cold had frozen his mind, slowly reminding him of who he was. I am Jiang, Nedhogg. Have you died? Has human civilization survived? And my Ania? He had a cold and stern expression, looking around and realizing that he was trapped in ice. So, he vibrated his whole body's strength, and a surging and fierce golden flame ignited around him. The intense high temperature immediately melted the solid ice and opened up the ice layer. Quickly, Jiang transformed into a golden flame figure and broke through the ice. He stood in the air above the Antarctic ice sheet, looking down, and found that the ice sheet was clean and without any human or monster figures. It seems that the disaster of Nedhogg has been quelled. He felt a little comfort in his heart. Perhaps I should go see the world today. I should also ask them how many years have passed since I was frozen. After speaking, he jumped up and flew towards the shelter in the great snow plain. Previously, when I came to Antarctica, I came by spaceship. Now I have to fly over the ocean, and with Jiang's current strength, I also need to fly for 7 days and 7 nights. After crossing the ocean, he arrived at a familiar and unfamiliar land. At this time, the world is calm and peaceful, with towering mountains and smooth rivers. Countless lives thrive on the earth, creating a vibrant and beautiful scenery. The earth has regained its former color, and the ruins of those cities have gradually been buried and are about to disappear. On the earth, there are already figures of human activities, distributed in the form of tribes, with extremely tall and robust physiques, and extremely high physical fitness. Jiang looked down from the sky and saw that even ordinary people could jump a few meters high. And the number is particularly large, with one tribe consisting of 1,000 people. Jiang has seen several tribes near here at least. These are the newly developed human civilizations. They seem a bit different from what I imagined. Jiang was puzzled and said, "Shouldn't it be a city like before?" He walked down from the sky to the earth and came before these humans. As soon as he appeared, he noticed that these humans saw his arrival and quickly gathered around, kneeling and shouting loudly. "Godly Lord! It seems that I have never seen any deity this time." Jiang looked at the humans kneeling in front of him without speaking. He carefully observed the characteristics of these humans and finally frowned. They all have blonde hair and dark golden eyes, with a very different appearance from previous humans. For example, one of the most prominent features of these humans is that all of them have upright eyes. And their ears are all slightly pointed, instead resembling the image of humans returning to their ancestors. This made Jiang very puzzled. But what they said could be understood by Jiang, and it was indeed the language of their pre-human ancestors. It seems that we need to go back and figure it out. He nodded gently towards the human in front of him, then rose up again and flew towards the location of the shelter. Only the new humans in their original place remained puzzled. Why didn't the Divine Lord bring food with him when he appeared this time? Chapter 7. Golden Humans. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Flying all the way, Jiang finally arrived at the sky above the former shelter in the snow plain. At this point, the shelter in the Great Snow Plain had already changed. If it weren't for Jiang's excellent insight, it would have been really difficult for him to find the location of the shelter. At first glance, this area looks like a mountain peak covered in heavy snow, extremely difficult to discover. He stood quietly above the shelter for a while, and soon, an eggshell-like dome was opened, from which rushed out a stunning girl in military uniform. Behind him, there was also a young man wearing a white coat. "Where did you die, Jiang?" The voice of the girl in military uniform was filled with 3 parts of anger and 7 parts of surprise, as she loudly vented herself. "Ha ha ha." Jiang awkwardly smiled and glanced at the young man in a white coat beside him, indicating that it was his turn to break free. "Welcome back, King Jiang." The young man in a white coat next to him understood and took a step forward, smiling slightly at Jiang with sincere warmth. "I'm back, Xiaohua, Fengxi. I have many questions, let's go ahead and talk. I also want to meet my former friends, especially Ms. Qinjing. I wonder if she's okay." Jiang's topic changed with some anticipation in his words. But as soon as these words were spoken, Li Xiaohua and King Fengxi remained somewhat silent. "What's wrong?" As if sensing something, Jiang's voice trembled slightly. "Let's talk about it inside." "Okay." Within the shelter of the Great Snow Plain, Jiang and the two walked inside this huge technological building, feeling immeasurable emotions in their hearts. He had already told Li Xiaohua and King Fengxi that he was actually sleeping under the ice. He knew he had been frozen for many years, but the exact duration was unknown to him before. Perhaps it will be 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years. But as he walked on this familiar road now, the entire shelter appeared cold and deserted. As if sensing his doubts, Li Xiaohua beside her said first. "Jiang, you should know that you have been sleeping soundly for over 1,000 years. 1,000 years. Although Jiang is mentally prepared, he is still a bit confused. "Yeah, 1,000 years. You also found that the shelter was very deserted, right? Ms. Yuanjing passed away hundreds of years ago." Upon hearing this, Jiang clenched his fists tightly and his face turned ugly. "You also know that even for awakened ones, 1,000 years is a very long time. Only awakened ones above a level have such a long time. Awakened ones below a level do not have a lifespan as long as 1,000 years." Li Xiaohua paused and continued speaking. "In 1,000 years, no matter how many awakeners of human civilization have broken through, only a few thousand have become A-level, and only a few dozen have become king-level awakeners to this day." "What about others?" Jiang asked. "Some choose to freeze up at the end of their lifespan, while others choose to die peacefully. You know, many of us lost our loved ones in the midst of fighting against that tragic apocalypse. What once supported them to move forward was only a desire for revenge and the reconstruction of human civilization." Li Xiaohua continued in a cold voice. "These people who have let go of everything, some choose to spend the rest of their lives educating the new humanity, while others choose to live in seclusion on the earth and silently walk towards death." Jiang nodded silently. "I see, that means our shelter now only has a few hundred people." "Yeah. Perhaps this is fate, our era has come to an end." Li Xiaohua lowered her eyes and said softly. Jiang remained silent for a moment, but suddenly remembered something and asked. "By the way, what about Ania? Has she been treated yet?" Jiang asked with a faint hope. "Ania is also an A-level and I believe she can live to this day." "No, but Ania was taken away by ISA, who tried many methods but couldn't save her. In the end, she could only freeze her forever in the Arctic. Do you want to go see her, Jiang?" Jiang shook his head silently. He doesn't want to go see it, he needs to find a way to resurrect her. So he changed the topic. By the way, I saw those new humans from outside, but they seem to be very different from us. Speaking of this, Li Xiaohua and King Fengxi became visibly depressed. After a long silence, King Fengxi slowly spoke up. We have also studied the issue of the new human race for a long time. The human genes in the human gene pool have been altered by the end of the world, perhaps unknown elements, or the tricks of aliens. The new human race, rooted in this, has become what it is today. Chen Pingyan, the leader, also felt extremely heartbroken, but at this point, these new humans are still the seeds of our humanity, so that's all for now. Moreover, due to the vastly different appearances of the new humans, leader Chen Pingyan referred to them as the golden human. The golden human with golden hair and golden eyes, is indeed suitable. Jiang murmured to himself. By the way, leader Chen Pingyan is fine. I just recovered from the ice and want to go see him. Leader Chen Pingyan has also passed away. On the side, Li Xiaohua spoke out again. 1,000 years, things change. Jiang sighed and said. Jiang Wang. Watching him feel uncomfortable, King Fengxi wanted to offer words of comfort. Don't call me Jiang Wang, call me Jiang. I haven't been here for so many years, and it's all up to you to support the afterglow of human civilization. Moreover, I, Guan Fengxi, have also become a king. Speaking of which, Li Xiaohua became somewhat proud. In these 1,000 years, although the population of us, the remnants of pre-human civilization, has become smaller, the strength of the people left behind has increased. I have also surpassed the royal level and advanced to the imperial level. Imperial level. Yes, above the level of a king, the awakened one who can control a realm of heaven and earth is called the emperor level. After speaking, Li Xiaohua's thoughts moved and a piece of yellow earth suddenly appeared in front of everyone, thick and deep, as if it were substance. Imperial level, is that so? Seeing Li Xiaohua's display of domain power, Jiang also had a slight thought. Suddenly, a world of fire appeared behind him, with a golden sun hanging from afar. So, Jiang, are you also at the imperial level? Li Xiaohua exclaimed with joy. By the way, Gungnir, is it also with you? There it is. Jiang reached out and pointed towards the world of flames, and Li Xiaohua and King Fengxi saw a blood-colored spear inserted into the land of flames. Gungnir is still here, so we have more confidence in that matter. Gungnir was originally created by human civilization with all its might to deal with extraterrestrial spacecraft. But when the alien spaceship left, super beasts like Nedhogg appeared again, which was why they came out to deal with it. But what was that matter? What kind of thing needs to be used? Do we still have any enemies on Earth today? Jiang was puzzled and said. Chapter 8. The Rebel King of Gold. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Within this millennium, a new human king was born among the new humans in the central region. As the king of the golden humans, he is also known as the King of Gold. Li Xiaohua remained silent for a while before slowly speaking up. His name is Gilgamesh, a bloodline formed hundreds of years ago by the combination of old and new humans. Gilgamesh is powerful and has a remarkable talent after awakening. He has now grown into an emperor-level extraordinary. We thought that such a mixed-race king would make the connection between new and old humans closer. We nurtured him, raised him, and looked forward to him becoming our good helper. But we were wrong, this is an arrogant king who has rebelled. He claims to be a descendant of gods and humans. He not only wants to rule over all people, but also over all gods. Wait, he said he is a descendant of God and man. When I came, some new humans called me God. Have we become gods of new humans now? Jiang furrowed his brows and looked puzzled. Seeing Jiang find it difficult to accept such a situation, Qing Fengxi nodded at Li Xiaohua, took over the conversation, and slowly said. Jiang, you should know that our civilization has actually been destroyed. As you can see, these new humans' current appearance is fundamentally different from ours. After scientists' judgment, using the theory of genetic variation and evolution, it will take at least tens of thousands of years to screen out these new humans' forms that are closest to our old humans. During this period, we need absolute control over them. So, we must become their gods. Our position determines what we need to do. Jiang, do you understand? Jiang remained silent for a while, then nodded slowly. I understand. After all, I am also a member of the God. For civilization, for humanity, it's about the survival of civilization, but what matters is benevolence and righteousness. Perhaps it will not be until one day, when the new humans become similar to the former humans, that the gods will disappear. Returning to the main topic, although Gilgamesh is a rebellious king, his strength is extremely strong. He combines the advantages of both new and old generations of humans. His physical fitness is excellent, his extraordinary abilities are extremely strong, and his fighting consciousness is also outstanding. The Sumerian sanctuary in the central region, already known as the Emperor's Extraordinary Awakened Man, had a confrontation with him, but surprisingly, it was far from his opponent. Upon hearing this, Jiang became interested, with excellent combat awareness and strong strength. Isn't this similar to him? He was a little curious about this rebellious king of gold for a while. Li Xiaohua continued. Therefore, the central region requested assistance from 6 other shelters to eliminate the rebellious king of gold. However, Zeus fought against a highly powerful mutated sea beast in the sea a few years ago and is still recovering from his injuries. Odin encountered a mutated giant wolf named Fenrir with imperial strength on the northern ice sheet, which blinded him in one eye and caused serious injuries. As for the gods of Ra in the Egyptian sanctuary and Brahma in the Indian sanctuary, they went by the pseudonyms Fire God and Light God, respectively, but were both defeated by Gilgamesh. The Isha in the northern region is currently in seclusion, and I have only surpassed the imperial level. I'm definitely not a match yet. The big guy is worried now, but as long as you come back, there's no need to worry with Gungnir. Gungnir, the most powerful weapon of the old era. It emerged to deal with extraterrestrial civilizations, and even today's Jiang can feel the destructive power within it. Okay, since that's the case, I'll go to the Sumerian refuge and meet this Golden King for a while. Jiang nodded at Li Xiaohua and King Fengxi. Okay, I'll go and contact Sumerian shelter now. Li Xiaohua smiled and said. By the way, how are you going to get there, fly over by yourself or take a plane? Of course I'm flying by plane. Why do I have to fly by myself if I can? Do you think I look like a fool? Jiang silence gave her a blank glance. He. Chapter 9. Sun God Jiang. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the sky, Jiang, sitting on the plane, looked at the clouds in front of him and gradually remembered the past before the end of the world. He has also flown and traveled to various cities for work. However, the state of mind at that time was completely different from today. Who would have thought that the end of the world would come, and now it is already 1,000 years later. After all, it has changed the world. Through the clouds and fog, the plane landed at the Sumerian shelter. This shelter is also built on a high mountain, using the most advanced light and shadow technology, and it is almost impossible to see a shelter on the surface. As soon as he got off the plane, he saw a tired-looking Marl appearing in front of him, rushing forward to embrace him tightly. Good brother, welcome back. I'm back, March. Almost all the former 7 kings of the apocalypse have become extraordinary at the imperial level. In that despairing and tragic apocalypse filled with slaughter and death, being able to stand out from billions of people and become a king-level existence is truly a peerless pride. But now, Jiang found that besides the joy of reuniting with him, Ma had lost his once high fighting spirit. I was defeated by him, he didn't even give it his all. As a heavenly god, it's a humiliating fact. In the room, Ma poured strong liquor into his mouth. Gilgamesh is really strong. In the post-apocalyptic world, not only do humans mutate and awaken into superhumans, but there are also beings in animals and plants who mutate into powerful wisdom. In the area of the Sumerian refuge, there is an extremely powerful mutated bison, even giving birth to impressive intelligence. This bison has no hostility towards the old humans, and Mar has also fought against this powerful bison before, with results that are evenly matched. Later, with Mar's goodwill, this bison became closer to humans and referred to the new humans outside as the Bull of Heaven. But this bison was killed by Gilgamesh, its horns were trained into obedient swords, and the beef was cooked and divided among its subjects. But Mar could only watch helplessly and couldn't stop it. The awakened individuals of Sumerian shelters consider themselves guardians and nurturers of these new humans. They called themselves gods according to the strategies left by the deceased elders to rule over the new humanity. In theory, the newly born human race could not have given birth to such a powerful character, but an accident still occurred. The power of Gilgamesh left the gods at a loss, not to mention ruling the earth and hurting new humans. The gods of Sumerian refuge are all struggling to protect themselves. Jiang, your strength is strong. If Gangnir is with you, I won't worry about Gilgamesh anymore. After a conversation, Ma also understood Jiang's situation and was deeply moved. Just as they were reminiscing, someone suddenly came to report. Chief, Gilgamesh has sent Enki over again, demanding that our Protoss obey his rule. If we don't comply yet, he will personally attack us. This is an A-level awakener who has just returned from the outside world, suppressing his anger and saying, "What a rampage, do we really have no way to deal with him?" After listening, Ma looked at Jiang and smiled. Little Kyle, maybe not before, but now it's different. We're no longer afraid of Jiang, Gangnir, and Gilgamesh. It turns out to be Lord Flame, the savior of the world. This awakened person seems to greatly admire Jiang, with an expression of seeing his idol. He was the rare child born after the end of the apocalypse in the Sumerian shelter, and grew up listening to the story of Jiang from a young age. Jiang nodded humbly, feeling quite admired by others. Let's go out together and meet this Enqidu. Ma nodded and asked Kyle to lead the way, talking to Jiang as he walked. This guy is a close friend of Gilgamesh, and his strength is also extraordinary. He is a king-level existence. When Gilgamesh did not become an emperor level, he was only slightly inferior. He is also a proud figure, but before, it was said that the probability of awakening a new human is only 1 in 100,000. How could so many talented characters be born? Harmful, who knows? Perhaps we are really the remnants of civilization, they are the new darling of the earth. Speaking unintentionally, the listener intends. Jiang thinks that Ma may be the truth. Walk through steel walls and SCI.fi-style hallways, step out of the shelter, step over the hidden light curtain, and come to the outside of the shelter. They saw a young handsome man with rare green long hair standing on the void above the high mountain across from them. There seemed to be a dense green vitality around him, and he was a king-level awakener, but he was not afraid of them. As soon as he saw Enqidu, Ma was filled with ghostly flames and loudly rebuked. Enqidu, I have said that the Sumerian gods could never submit to Gilgamesh. Have you forgotten who protected you when you were weak, taught you to graze, cultivate and provide you with food? Enki said with a calm smile on his face, neither humble nor overbearing. Respected God King Mar, all these Enki are known, and everyone is grateful to the gods. But my king is different. He has noble lineages of both gods and humans, and he was born as the king of all kings. Whether it is God or humanity, they should be under his rule. MD brain powder. Mar cursed in a low voice, feeling extremely helpless. Upon hearing these words, Jiang chuckled inwardly. He took a step forward, his confident and invincible demeanor overwhelming the colorful clouds in the sky, and a faint red color was boiling in the sky and earth. That's flames praising their kings. I want to meet this king of kings and weigh his abilities as a king. Enqidu, take me there. Enki had just been paying attention to this newly emerged deity, and at this moment, he saw Jiang step out with a brilliant and majestic demeanor, as if a bow had broken the sky. He was suppressed, he had never seen such a magnificent deity before. He only felt that the aura of this deity seemed indistinguishable from that of his king. No wonder, although Jiang's rise also emerged from the sea of corpses and blood, he has never been defeated and has been invincible all the way. Even, it can be said that he killed Nedhogg with unwavering sacrifice. The former 7 kings have all had many defeats. Only Jiang is the one who never fails in life. I dare to ask the gods' names and taboos, it seems that I have never seen you before. Enqidu's tone was unconsciously filled with respect. This is the sun god of my Sumerian temple, just awakened from slumber. Mar raised his eyebrows and said proudly. He naturally knew Jiang's strength. He had also competed with Jiang before, but never won. He is more confident in Jiang's strength than himself. Moreover, this is a war between gods and humans, so it is normal for Jiang to receive a Sumerian divine position. As for the name of the sun god, it is natural that the fire god has already been used. So, respected sun god, please follow me, and I will lead you to the holy city of humanity, Uruk under the rule of the king. Enki patted his chest and bowed respectfully, saying. Chapter 10. Enqidu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Enki swept across the sky with Jiang and flew towards Uruk. At this time, the 2 river basins were lush with trees, lush with grass, and fertile soil. There are vast plains irrigated by rivers here, with lush green grasslands extending from the feet to the horizon. Under the sunshine, the endless green ocean shines with vitality and natural light, beautiful and breathtaking. On this land, a city cast from lush stands on the horizon. The Huantu city is ancient, simple, and wild, giving off a feeling of wildness and primitiveness. But such a place is not stingy, but rather grand and spectacular. This is a city-state that can accommodate over 100,000 people. This is the city-state of Gilgamesh, Uruk. The 2 flew to the edge of the city. Originally, Enki wanted to bring Jiang directly to the palace. But Jiang refused, he wanted to see the most advanced civilization of the golden humans today. Gilgamesh was an extremely proud king who was once very cruel and made the people feel helpless. So the golden humans on the Mesopotamian plain prayed for the help of the gods. The awakened individuals of Sumerian refuge then displayed the majesty of a deity, reprimanding his actions and evaluating his character, in order to make him a wise king. But Gilgamesh never accepted it, since his sea-level awakened mother could not withstand the invasion of time and passed away. He was no longer as submissive as before, and his talent was very good. At the age of only a few decades, he became a powerful king-level awakener. At that time, in addition to Mar, who was breaking through the seclusion, there was also a person who broke through the royal level and transformed into the god of war to punish Gilgamesh, but was defeated by him. The boss is breaking through, and at this time, it is not enough to seek help from other shelters. Helpless, the Sumerian shelter found a powerful king of mixed divine and human race, Enqidu, and asked him to persuade Gilgamesh. Enkidu's talent was also extremely strong, and he was also a king-level existence at the time. He went to Uruk to persuade Gilgamesh. The 2 of them fought once, and Enki, who had become the king earlier, surprisingly fell slightly behind. But both born of mixed divine and human race, Gilgamesh had a deep affection for Enki, and the 2 became good friends. Gilgamesh followed Enkidu's advice and began to become an outstanding ruler. Under his rule, the people under his rule began to live and work in peace and contentment. In return, when Gilgamesh showed his ambition to unify the world, Enki was willing to serve him. These stories were all on their way here, and Enki took the initiative to tell Jiang. While telling these stories, he also expressed Gilgamesh's aspirations. From the perspective of the golden human race, doing so is a great achievement. But he is not a golden human, he is the remnant of the human civilization of the previous era. The golden humans are just the first generation of new humans they use to screen out those closest to the old humans. Uruk City. Jiang and Enki both strolled within the bustling ancient city-states, where golden-haired humans with raised eyes engaged in various professions. On both sides of the yellow earth paved street, there are not only two-story yellow earth houses, but various street vendors can be seen everywhere. Fish sellers, vegetable sellers, grass mats weavers, linen weavers, and so on, all kinds of shouts like in the bustling city. If it weren't for a pair of raised eyes that were too dramatic, Jiang would have thought he had traveled to the ancient times of the Fifth Age. A prosperous place, a place to live and work in peace, Gilgamesh has done a good job in governance. Jiang sincerely praised that Gilgamesh, as an ancient king, was indeed considered a wise ruler. Do the gods also think so? On the side, Enki exclaimed excitedly, the recognition of Wang is the best praise for him. However, this is not a reason for Gilgamesh's disobedience to the gods, nor is it his reckless attempt to rule over the capital of gods and humans. I will wake him up. Jiang smiled slightly at Enkidu's expression, but said firmly. Enki choked, not expecting Jiang's words to change so quickly. Even the gentle and approachable Enki couldn't help but choke him. Really, my king won't lose, but if the sun god is defeated, please let the god submit to my king. I won't lose, Enkidu. The atmosphere instantly fell silent, and Jiang no longer looked at the prosperity of Uruk, although he always remembered the past civilization when he saw it. Enkidu, take me to meet Gilgamesh. Okay, deity.